Hello again, welcome back everyone. LiquorHound here with you, and thank you for joining me once again for another spirit review video. Today we're going to be taking a look at 3 7-year-old bottled in bond bourbons that have come out. This one's been out a little bit, but these two have come out fairly recently, within 2025 here. The Old Fitzgerald 7-year-old 8-wheater bourbon, 20% wheat in this mash bill. We're going to start with it to see where we're at. Price point on it's usually about, I think about $60 is where I used to see it. Of course, it's getting really hard to find now, but, you know, hopefully with a little searching or when they re-release, whatever, you can find it again, okay? The Heaven Hill 7-year-old, still out. It's everywhere. Priced at around $50. Very solid, high corn mash bill here. Only 10% rye in this one. So again, we're going from a wheater bourbon to 2 rye bourbons. And then we have the Old Grandad 7-year-old. This thing launched here at the very beginning of August 2025 here in Texas. Old Grandad 7-year-old, price point at least expensive of all these, $40. This one's going to be high rye mash bill. I think it's 28% on this one. And so all the details I'm going to put down in the description, so check it out there. But let's go ahead and get to the important part, right? The nosing and tasting, see what we think of these. Now, wheat being a softer grain, slightly sweeter, we're going to start here. All right, 7-year-old Old Fitzgerald on the nose. And I will say, this one's been breathing because when first picked this one up, was not that impressed. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really dig it at first. It was kind of like, for my immediate thought, I tasted it blind when I first got this because I actually got this from a buddy. And he just called me over. He's like, sit down, let's taste some things blind. We do this. So I was like, fine. So pours me, I think it was 4 bourbons at the time, and this one was in there as well. And when I tasted this one, it was the first one he put in the lineup. I tasted it. The first thing out of my mouth was, tastes like it got bottled a little too soon. Could have used a little more maturation. As we know, wheaters, you know, the 11-year, the 13-year, all those, the old 19 years and stuff that they've been doing in the Fitz decanters, those are great, but they just take a little longer to get there. But at 7 years, this one needed some air to breathe. But now when I nose this one, heavy brown sugar, a little bit of cola aspect, like an RC cola aspect to it. There's a little pecans, candied pecans, touch of almond, definitely some orange oil in here, cinnamon, a little, yeah, that nuttiness. The more I'm nosing that, there's a little bit of peanut shells in there with the almonds and those honeyed pecans. But overall, really nice, straightforward little bourbon. Let's go ahead and give it a taste at 100 proof. Oh yeah, big polished tone to it. So that's where, again, I always talk about how when whiskeys are really young, they kind of get into, well, when they're young, they get a little bit kind of like a vinegar tone, apple cider vinegar when they're mid-aged. And then when they usually get a little touch older, they start turning into a little bit of polish, right? And that's kind of where this one is. It's past that apple cider vinegar. It's got a little polish to it. But brown sugar, very soft now. Definitely has peanut on it. More than just the shells. This is actually the peanut aspect. The cola kind of kicks in right underneath that. The almonds are, and the almond almost feels like a little bit of amaretto. That kind of candy pecan thing I was picking up doesn't really come through a whole lot on the palate. You get a little bit of leather, that orange oil, that leather kind of thing kind of tapers off into that oak, kind of running on the backside. It's much better now with air, but oh yeah, it's lovely. It's very soft. Again, kind of red fruit driven because there is some, I would call that one kind of like brandied cherries. Brandied cherries in there. We'll go with that baked red apple. Those are the 2 fruits with that orange oil. Not much more beyond that. Again, the baking spice shows up, goes away. That kind of leather and oak kind of run a little bit. Not complex, but very enjoyable. For $60, that's nice. All right. Sticking up rye mash bill, all right? So this is a bourbon with rye as the second grain instead of wheat. Low rye, high corn. So 10% here on the rye. Heaven Hill bottle and bond, 7-year-old. Much denser nose already. Brown sugar bomb on this one. Very, very sweet. Going into almost a little bit of molasses with the depth. And then there's leather, clove, lots of wood resin. And this is old oak. Plums. There's baked cherries. It's almost like baked cherry pie because it's got that little graham cracker in it as well. With that big sour tone. It's apple cider heading into polish. This one was further along actually. This one had polish. This is riding that line right where it's apple cider. It's starting to turn into a wood polish. But it's definitely sweeter and denser than that one. And I think when you turn them, you kind of look at the colors on these. I mean, that definitely looks older than this one. But here, let's do that side by side. Yeah, matter of fact, I would say this is the darkest. Yeah, I think this is a shade darker than this one. So this might be the lightest one on the table. Okay. But to the tasting of the Heaven Hill. Yeah, this is a solid medium, just above medium viscosity. This one was also very similar, maybe just a tick less on viscosity, but it was super soft, right? This one definitely has a little more rice spice picking up on that mid palate, just a touch. But as it enters, yeah, dense, heavy brown sugar, again with that molasses kind of kick in there as well. I could see somebody calling that a natural cola, right? So natural cola syrup, because it's very heavy and weighty, and there's almost kind of a rootish vibe to the whole thing there. Dark cola syrup. And then once you get past that, it's kind of got a little bit of it's mostly cherry forward. Again, these are kind of, think ripe cherries cooked down with the brown sugar. A little bit of plum aspect to it. A little bit of apple in there as well. The nuttiness here is definitely more on the pecan spectrum than peanut. You know, when you go younger in Heaven Hill, it's a lot more peanut. And this one's kind of aging out of that a little bit. Clove and leather. Rich oak. The oak is definitely heavier than it was here by a long shot. So if you like mature, older bourbons, this is going to hit that mark at just 7 years of age. And it priced at only $50. What a great buy. Gosh, it's just running that beautiful heavy oak of a matured bourbon. Again, this one has, I let this one breathe as well. This is one of these that, again, wasn't great out the gate, but with a little air sitting on the shoulder, I let it sit for like 3 months. And now here we are, it's drinking like a champ. Okay, I'm gonna need a double sip after that one. Old Grandad, 7-year-old, picked this up just a week ago. It's nice. It's nice. A heavy rye, 28% rye on this one. But the thing I like about the nose is it's not heavy. It's definitely more in the fruit, almost floral. There's like a light dried floral aspect to it, but not heavy. It's not bad. Not in a bad way. Not soapy or anything like that. But definitely a lot of lighter citrus, brighter fruits. That orange oil is in there. The clove is in there. Cinnamon. that rye spice. You can pick it up right here on the nose, like a little bit of cracked rye. Kind of reminds me of a kind of an old fashioned in a glass. There's kind of that slightly sweet, the orange oil, the typical bourbon oak component is in there. Ooh, that's nice right there. That's that floral. I love that. On the edge of the glass, you get your nose halfway in the glass and go to the edge, and you'll pick up that floral. Again, it's got that nice vanilla oak. There's definitely some polish developing here. Gosh, okay, $40. Let's try it. Wow, that's crazy. That's 28% rye, and yet it feels every bit as creamy and soft. It almost feels as soft as this one. It feels creamier than this one. So still medium, high, medium, just a little over edge over medium on viscosity. But this just has a creamy component to it that is super solid. Caramel brown sugar hybrid that kind of hits on the sweetener. Feels sweet, but not cloyingly so, but definitely, I mean, it almost feels a little touch sweeter than the wheater. And then you get that kind of, again, baked down cherries, a little bit of honey, the orange oil, which is heavy on this one. Dense oak, the light, this one is the nuttiness on it. It's a little peanut, just a little bit, but not a lot. Definitely not as much as I was finding here. This one, and even this one was super soft. But when you think, again, younger Heaven Hill, you're getting that peanut. This is not that either. And Beam does the same thing. Young Beam is chock full. Matter of fact, to be honest with you, some of the older Beams lately have had a lot of peanut in them. This one has it, but it's nicely balanced. Think of it more like a maybe a toffee with a peanut brittle in it. So toffee peanut brittle kind of combination going into this one, but creamy and soft. We get that orange oil running, the clove, the leather, the oak. Definitely a little bit of that old bookish tone to it. But I feel like at $40, I'm definitely going to be making old fashions with this one. I know a lot of people don't like to mix cocktails. They like everything neat. I know. But if I'm going to make an old fashioned at only $40, I think this is going to make a great one. You don't have to use half as much orange bitters. You can focus on something else that's a little cooler, right? But yeah, that's a great bourbon. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video review. And if you did, consider helping me buy these bottles as I self-purchase each and every bottle I review. And you can do that by joining me over at patreon.com/LiquorHound. For as little as $5, you can, again, support this channel, because that's the only way I'm able to keep it going is with the help of my patrons. But that enables me to go out there and buy this one for $40 and this one for $50 and so on, so that I can give you straightforward, honest reviews. Because here, you don't have to worry about people sending me stuff, or I feel like, oh, this company gave me this, so I got to say nice things about them. Not here, because I don't ever get anything from anybody. I don't ask them for it. So I just buy it, I review it, and that's what I've always done. Going back to I started this channel in 2011. I've been doing that from day one. And I've always started this whole channel was to help you, the viewers, because when I started in 1994, there was no internet. So there was just me buying a ton of bad stuff, and I just had to buy them and try them. And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to start a channel so that people don't have to go through what I went through. So that's what I'm doing. So again, with your support, I'd greatly appreciate it, because that's how I'm able to do it. So until next time, everyone, keep leaving all those great comments. I greatly appreciate each and every one of them. Until next time, cheers, y'all.